Howdy, folks. Good morning. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Welcome to day three. Julius Baer Generation Cup. We got games underway as soon as we can find them. Oh, lots of matches happening. We have Artemiev against Aronian and Nepo against Amen. Oh, wow. Nepo just won the first game. Shoot. We tuned in a bit late. I apologize, folks. Look at this final. Holy smokes. What just happened here? Rook d1, queen e4, and black resigned. Because he is getting mated. Wow, what a start by Nepo. Hey Sam, how's it going? Hello, hello. Sorry again for the delay. Uh Dealing with some allergies. But we're on the road. Oh boy. Wow. Let's just go through the moves here in this game. Very quick win by Nepo to start day three. These are 4 game matches, best of 4. Bishop g4, d5, a5 here, and oh boy, Nepo really woke up and chose violence today for this one. Takes here, d6, boom. This was the final onslaught. So he sacrificed an exchange. He can win it back at any moment with bishop to c4. But no, here comes queen e4. Bam. And game over. Game over because white is threatening to take this rook. White is threatening to take this one and give bishop c4 check. So if black goes rook a7, for example, white takes. And rook d8 is probably good too, but this I think is just immediate immediate mate, right? You got to go rook e6, and then okay, you're losing everything. Wow. So very nice first game from Nepo. We'll catch up to their second game, but let's watch Artemiev Aronian because this is still game one for them. Okay, and they just traded queens, get into this endgame with extra pawn for Aronian, but opposite color bishops seems kind of drawish for now. Excuse me, folks. Okay, I need to get some more tissues here. Back in a sec. Alrighty, folks. Apologies for that. We've got some very sweet kittens in the house that I love, that I love. But yeah, so I just sometimes there's a price to be paid. There's a price to be paid for happiness. But I think we're all right. We're gonna deal. This endgame is very fascinating. Artemiev has gotten his bishop trapped on h6, and it's very difficult to see how black is actually going to win this piece. But the other issue for white is that it's cut off from the game. That said, feels like he can break it out very easily actually with h4 or f4. So I'm actually not too worried about Artemiev's bishop here. But I am worried about his clock, and Levon is up on time. So I think this is going to be Aronian here trying to convert this position. He's got moves like rook e5, which look good. Rook a8. Okay, he goes king h8. Oh, he wants rook g8, rook g6. Oh, he is going after the bishop. Uh-oh. Yeah, Artemiev's going to have to find some way out of this. Rook d6. That looks like a good start. Rook e6. Threatening a check on d8. Black has to be careful. A8, 10 seconds for Artemiev. Just barely holding on here. But the thing for black is that the king is also kind of cut off. So it's like not that easy. It's not like you have a total extra piece in the position because you're playing without the king. Rook d8, black looking for a way to improve the position. It's actually quite hard here for black because white can just kind of sit. Obviously, you can't take, right? Because you just get mated on the spot. And white is just going to keep the tension. He's not going to take on e8 either. So yeah, actually, bishop on h6 is both strong and vulnerable. There's no kind of f5s. White just takes. So this is like an interesting case of mutual tension. Aronian has to find some way to maybe use his knight. Knight a8, knight c7. Something like this. So he can try to resolve this tension. Because he's still the one I think that's going to be pushing here for the win. Question is just whether he can find a plan to improve his situation. And 90 seconds to figure it out. Here. Knight c8, rook d7. Artemiev ready for that one. What to do? What to do? Can't go rook e7 because then white has rook takes c8 with the tactics. How to get through here. Okay, he's trying a6. Artemiev trades on e8, takes on b7. He's now winning a pawn. Knight d6, rook b6. Takes. Things feel like they're kind of trading off here. Levon looking for any last chances, but now he has to be careful because, okay, he could end up down a pawn and worse. Knight e7, trying to trap the bishop in. Time to play h4 or f4. h2. H in f4. Yeah, there goes the f pawn. A rook's got traded off. Now white's better. He just has this outside b pawn. It's very, very strong. And the Aronian needs to rush over there, make sure he can stop it. Still some chances for white here. Of course, black's king should be active enough, I think, to pick up the pawn, and then the knight can sack for the last pawn. So yeah, things definitely approaching a draw. But Artemiev, he's the one that's pushing here. He's gonna go after this h pawn and try to create a passed h pawn. Bishop e5. The player's on seconds. f6. Bishop d4. Bishop d4. White's bishop actually now is in really good spot. And it's hard for black to win this b pawn. He's going to need both his king and the knight. Okay, knight f4 check. He cannot take on h3 because white's bishop is holding the pawn. Knight e6, bishop e3, knight g7. Oh, he's playing for the fortress. White has real chances here, folks. White has real chances. King f5. Artemiev get there in time. It's won the b pawn, but white's winning the h pawn. Can the knight get back and sack? King e6, king g6 now to box black's king out. Feels like the knight has room, but the bishop can mess with the knight here a bit. Knight d7, bishop g7, for example. Bishop g7 now. Oh, but knight f8, you can, if takes, king takes, that's a draw. So, yeah, feels like Aronian should save it, but it's all going to come down to this. Six, can the knight get back? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, the h-pawn's running. And f4, he made that move with 0.0 seconds on his clock. 0.01. Oh man, Aronian is just barely. But that's it. That's it. It's over. Artemiev, he snags it because next move is king g7, and the knight is just gonna have to go. And just like that, Artemiev picks up the first game. Wow. Wow. Let's jump back to Nepo because these guys are already well into their second game. What is happening here? Nepo won the first game in this match for any folks that missed it in kind of crushing fashion. I mean, it was brutal. Honestly, it was pretty brutal. So it looks like White's up a pawn, but Black feels very, very active here. Um, Now, whether it's enough, yeah, it feels like minimum Black can take on d3, go rook c3, bishop f5 somewhere. Very hard to see how White converts this one. But of course he's going to try because he's Amin's down a point. So queens came off. Bishop f5, rook a3, now g5. So Nepo is just kind of playing this one positionally, taking space on the king side. He's going to bring his king in. Kind of just playing like he's not down a pawn. Like White can't really do anything with the extra pawn. White can push f4, but Black will just take it, and then his pawn on f4 could even be a weakness in the future. King h7, rook g8, rook g4, and so on. Bishop b3, improving the bishop. Maybe looking for e6 to try to break things up. Black can take this one, but then that would run into bishop takes f7 check. And, well, it's still an extra pawn for White. And in this rook endgame, okay, White can actually try to do something with the protected passers. Hey, what's up, Bait? Hey, Bait, I saw your message. I didn't get a chance to respond, but I will forward it to Jesse. Yeah, rook a8 and rook a5. Yeah, maybe he had this, right? At this point, rook a1, rook a5, and going after this one. It's f4. I don't know. Still feels like Black has a nice grip on the position. Okay, what happened here? Rook c3. White unpins with check. Bishop d5. Now definitely looking for rook a7 and e6 ideas. But Black can go bishop g6. Okay, you definitely don't want to let the pawn skate through. Rook a7, e6, e7 would be resigned time. So Black does have to be careful not to allow this one. What to do? Like if you take here, then you're not in time. Rook a7, bishop g6, and then e6. And Black is in some danger there, I think. Bishop e6 maybe. Challenge White's bishop before White's rook gets to the 7th rank. Then bishop e4. Yeah, Nepo having a bit of a think. He also has moves like rook to b5. You can try to hit the bishop. But rook b5, bishop c4, I wasn't sure what the plan is. Tempo on the rook. And then White's going to go rook a7. Maybe bishop c4, he wants rook b7. Just very, very solid. And then he's still hitting d3 pawn. He can improve the rook further. Nepo here definitely trying to hold on to this one. Yeah, there's bishop c4. Folks, we've also got a ton of matches in the losers bracket. We have Fedoseev up against Mamedov. Mamedov actually won that first game, so he's on the verge of eliminating Fedoseev. These are 2-game matches in the losers bracket that we'll try to follow. We have Alexei Sorana against Esipenko. Looks like Esipenko is up 1-0 against Sorana. Alexeyev 1-0 against Suleimanli. And Fresnay Yakubov, they drew the first game, and they're on to their game 2. So this Fedoseev Mamedov match definitely quite critical. Both these players, I think, are 2 of the favorites in the elimination brackets. In the meantime, whoa, Black got the bishop to f3. I missed that. How'd that happen? Rook d1, bishop g4, bishop f3. Now there's all kinds of back rank issues. Interesting thing about Nepo, guys, in this event, he won his first match quite comfortably. Then against Fedoseev, he was winning this first game, and then he blundered into this just devious mating trick, lost the game, decided to turn on Super Saiyan mode or something, and has since then just been he crushed Fedoseev from there. He crushed Amin in game 1 so far. And yeah, he's looking like a very, very dangerous player right now. And seeming like a soft favorite to take the winners division here, but nothing over yet. Oh, rook d7. Black allowed the rook to come in, threatening rook takes and e6. What's Nepo looking for here? Does he have some rook a3 tactics? White can always just move the rook over. He's looking for rook c2. No, but then rook takes f7, rook takes f3, covers the f2 pawn. I think he played rook to b2 and then allowed this one. So this is very, very surprising. Maybe he was only thinking, okay, rook can't come to a7 because of the back rank, but rook d7, this feels like an odd thing for Nepo to blunder, especially after all that time I just spent praising him on his play. Uh-oh. Well, but yeah, based on the time usage, rook d7 was not anticipated by the challenger. What to do? Can you go rook b7 back? But then e6. e6 is a big problem. Takes, and black's rook on c3 is caught. I think white's just winning here. I think Nepo underestimated something about rook takes f7. He's got e6 threat as well. g4. Wowie wow. Wowie wow. Okay, just creating some squares for the king, defending the bishop. So the move is very logical. But it does allow e6. I do think it's a good try. Like, at least you keep your bishop locked in on f3. White still has all kinds of back rank problems. Oh, and he wants e6, rook c2. And then rook f1, rook c1. Oh, this is still very tricky, guys. This is still very, very tricky. He wants rook c2, rook c1. Nepo. And rook takes f7, king h8. He's got a bishop covering the a8 square. Oh my god. Just living on the edge of the board here. And this is still this is not obvious for white because rook c2, rook c1, this is a very serious threat. And it doesn't even matter where white's rook is. Black is starting to put the rook on c1, trade the rook off. Second rook comes to c1. Okay, he's giving checks. Oh, he's got rook a7. Rook a7. Oh, but black will block. Black will block. It's not game over. Wow, Nepo seeing everything. So Amin could have repeated, of course, but he's playing for the win. He's a point behind in this match. He needs this point. E6. E6. Now there's no rook c2 because of rook a7 check. Earlier, rook a7, black can play bishop b7 and then threatening a back rank. But here white can push e6 because now there's no rook c2, rook c1. Nepo needs to come up with something here quick because the pawn is about to promote. It's 2 squares away. But e7 covers the 7th rank, so maybe on e7 he can go rook c2. So he needs like some waiting move or something, h5, e7, rook c2. Oh, but then there's going to be rook h8 check, king g7. He sacks the exchange. 6 seconds on the clock. Yeah, super complicated here. I think white has to take this one. But then he wants to push the d pawn. Oh, rook was hanging. Oh, and he's got rook a4. Oh, there were so many tactics here, folks. Rook f1. Bishop c6 now. Black can stop the pawn. Okay, decides to stop it with the rook. Takes. Now we get this endgame. All right, we'll go back after the game's over, folks. Yeah, there was a lot of tactics. In the rook on g8 was hanging. White at e7 check. So many things. White's still having extra exchange here. But very tricky to convert because black's bishop on f3 is just fixed. It's just a fixed piece. So it's really hard for white to attack anything without allowing serious counterplay. And black has the back rank. Black has the d pawn. Wow. Nepo not even... Holy smokes. Nepo just won. He flagged. He flagged after this crazy move rook c3. He was like, what? I can take the pawn. But then d3, and he couldn't figure out what's going on here because d2 is now coming. And then rook c1, the rook can't get back in time. Oh, he just panicked and flagged, folks. What a turnaround. Oh my god. Really crazy game. I mean, you see even for the elite level, like these time scrambles can be so volatile. So, takes... I really feel like Amin was super close to winning this one. He finds this move e6. Honestly, kind of brilliant. I didn't even mention this, but you can't take the rook because of e7 check and then white promotes. I'm sure you guys figured this out. We have a very smart audience. But takes here by Nepo. I completely didn't realize this is a counter move because if white takes back, then black can just get away with taking this one. Because e7, the king can stop it. And then if rook check, king comes up and white can't do anything because of the back rank problem. So takes, he goes e7, and then rook a4 by Nepo. Double exclam move to find, you know, when you're on seconds. Rook f1, but now rook e2. And so this move was super important because, of course, the rook is now no longer hanging. White promoted. We get this endgame, and yeah, I was thinking it feels kind of drawish. Of course, Basim's trying to play for win, and then rook c3. I mean, wow, what a find. Because normally everybody would just play like king. Okay, you just defend the pawn, and then if white checks, you go back, and you're like, all right, do you want to draw? Do you want like this is what you do in this position? No, rook e5. He goes rook c3, and I don't even know what the eval is here, but it's very annoying in time pressure. And actually, white's fine. He can defend. He can bring the rook back and kind of defend it, but it was just the shock of this move caused him to flag. Amazing. Apparently rook a1 here is good. Anyway, instead of e6, what about rook a7? Yeah, let's see. So rook a7. Oh, and then if bishop b7, bishop d5 was the idea. Yeah, looks winning for white. Looks winning. I guess black has to go rook b7 then. Block with the rook. And then if we get something like this, then white still has a problem actually. So this would be pretty unclear. But yeah, bishop b7 is not right for black. I think rook b7 here would have been the response. Wow. So incredible defense there by Nepo. I mean, I feel like he really did everything there tactically to hang on. Amazing. And now they're on to their game 3 and oh man, Nepo, he is just as Grishchuk would call it, he is playing like a terrorist in this one. He just needs a draw, guys. And when you just need a draw for white, you play the Scotch 4 Knights. That's how it goes. It's just a very, very solid setup for white. Really hard to lose this position. H3, and yeah, Nepo, he just needs one draw out of 2. He's going to try to make it in this game. He's trading everything off. There's really no advantage for white in this endgame. Yeah, it's also very, very difficult for black to kind of play for a win. Also not even fun. Like imagine you're Basim Amin right now. You had a beautiful chance there to maybe even the score. You lost the game, you flagged like in a position. At least he can make a draw there, right? You think at least draw the game, you'll still have a chance. But you lose the game because you flagged, looking for a win. And yeah, now you have to play this position with black against Nepo and try to beat him. Chess is a tough game, folks. Chess is a tough game. That's all. That's all we could really take away from this one. In the meantime, Aronian and Artemiev, they're on their game 2. Artemiev won the first game. Had no business doing so, by the way. No business, but he won it. He just snagged it in that endgame, bishop versus knight. So he's up a point, but he is down his usual 8 minutes on the clock against Aronian here. So Levon definitely going to be trying to win this one. This is actually eval less stream. We are anti the eval here because we feel here at the dojo that it actually kind of takes away from the educational side of things. Yeah, a lot of times I think eval bar is can lead to more confusion than anything. I think it's a lot more useful to try to look at the board with the human perspective. Because then you're seeing it the way the players are seeing it, and it's like a lot closer to what's going on for them. But I don't really, personally for myself, like I don't really mind the eval bar. Like when I'm watching, I'm honestly fine with it. but I don't feel like it's the best. It's the most instructive way to do commentary. I think you learn a lot more just by looking at it. Because if you think about it, when the players are playing, if someone makes a mistake, there's no hints whatsoever that like the eval change, there's a tactic in the position or computers, just like zero hints whatsoever, right? It's 100% onto the players to notice that there's like a tactical opportunity or something to be found. And they often look for tactical opportunities when there are none in the position. That's why they're often like spending tons of time. You're like, what are they thinking about? What are they thinking about? It's because they're calculating. They think they see something and they're trying to make it work. So here Artemiev, big time pressure. Queen e5. Is barely trying to hold on. In terms of the evaluation here, I would say I do think white is doing quite well. F4, E5 comes to mind. But I think on F4, black's going to play Queen C5. Try and go into an endgame. In the endgame, I think black is quite solid. Very few weaknesses. And the king will have a nice square on E7. But for now, we have the middle game. And in the middle game, black's king is not feeling super comfortable here. Bishop drops back to b6. We got f4 on the board. Now I would expect Artemiev to try to bail out with queen c5. Yeah, see, exactly. Eval bar is not going to tell you what the player's trying to do. Queen back to b3. Levon wants to keep the queens on the board. And black can castle here. The problem is once you castle, You give your opponent the address to your king. And I mean, if you don't castle, your opponent also knows where you live, right? So it's not like there's any easy way out here. But once you castle, you are kind of committed. If black doesn't castle, though, then the rooks don't get connected, and that's going to be a big problem. So he is going to have to decide at some point. And he just goes, Artemiev just goes knight g4. He's like, take this, Levon. I want to give knight f2 check. You go king h2. I go knight g4 back. And round and around we go. What a move. What a move. Wow. How about that? So, of course, you can't take... If you take the knight, you're losing here. Here, the eval bar would show all the way black because White's king is just getting wrecked. But if White doesn't take, then you got knight f2 check, knight g4 back with the perpetual, like bishop d2, knight f2. Knight g4 still can't take. We might get a draw. Let's see. Let's see. But only 2 minutes for Artemiev, so you gotta feel like Aronian is he's gonna be looking for a way to keep the game interesting. Maybe queen f3. Cover the f2 square. Okay, bishop f3. Interesting. Giving a square for the king on g2. So knight f2 check, king g2. Why is Nepo in the Speed Chess Championship? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I saw a tweet by him that he said he wasn't good enough. I don't know. He was implying like he wasn't invited, like by rating or something. I actually don't know what rating system they use because, it's like a mix of Blitz and Bullet. They use chess.com Blitz ratings, Bullet ratings, FIDE ratings? How do they? I actually don't know what they use to determine invites. Because the field looked incredibly strong. Like, if you take someone out of that field, like who do you take out? I mean, obviously there was the 4 qualifiers, so you can't really touch the qualifier spot. So of the invited players, it's like, I mean, they were all like amazing. They were all super strong. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I was surprised not to see Nepo in there. I do feel like he is one of the absolute top speed chess players in the world. And Artemiev castles queenside. I mean, this is insane what he's doing. And not in terms of his play. Like, his moves are actually very reasonable and normal here. The issue is just like the clock. Like, I just don't understand how he's going to play a sharp middle game with all the pieces on the board with 1 minute and 3 seconds increment. And Aronian is like, he's no chump. Like, this guy can calculate. So you give Aronian 10 minutes, like, he's gonna mess you up. Like, I mean, wild. This is a very chaotic position to just leave yourself 1 minute with. But this is what some players do. Grishchuk, kind of infamous example, the time trouble addict, and Artemiev. I mean, yeah, he's gotta you gotta just like play moves, but this is so complicated. White now wants knight a4, trading off black's second bishop, and then getting the two very strong bishops on the board. What's Nepo's record like in the SEC? I'm not sure. I believe he's done fine. I couldn't really say. I don't think he's won one. I mean, Hikaru and Magnus have pretty much won like every speed chess championship. Yeah. I think Wesley So might have won one. I don't know other than Hikaru and Magnus if anyone has even taken one. Knight a4. 20 seconds for Artemiev. Wesley won one. Okay, knight c5. Strong move, forcing White to trade on c5. Oh no, he can take on b6. He can take on b6. That is a check, folks. That is a check. So knight takes b6 is an option. Black will recapture. What if he takes twice? just takes twice. Artemiev then wants to maybe take on e4. But at a certain point, this knight will be hanging. Look at what Levon might calculate right now. Takes, takes, takes. Knight takes e4. This is why it's a problem to give your elite opponent so much time. And here, White can finally just take this horse, and I don't think he's losing this. Okay, we're about to see it. And he does take twice on b6. And Artemiev, queen c4. Queen c4. Look at this guy. Queen c4. What a move. Hitting the rook on f1. And it's hard for White to develop the bishop here. So Levon calculated he probably didn't account for this move. I mean, how could you? This is like such a random move to find. But Artemiev, just such a monster with just right now, Artemiev's like, he's just like laser focused on the position. You know, Levon is thinking, he's using his opponent's time to think. He's just like laser focused. So what is going on here? King g2 is possible. You can try rook g1. But king g2, c2 pawn is hanging. Hold on. King g2 is not possible. Queen takes c2 is just like mate. Is straight up mate. Holy smokes, what a move he found. Queen c4 with a double attack. I think he has to go bishop g2 here. And then it's still very unclear. I don't see an obvious like win there for black. So bishop g2 is still seems playable. Can we get cameras on the players? No, we cannot. This is just our humble abode here, the Chess Dojo stream. And okay, king g1. Okay, different move. But now queen c2 threatening mate on h2. Yes, has to defend this one. Bishop g2 kind of looking like only move. What does Artemiev have in mind? Oh, he takes. Sorry, he can take. He can take and go bishop g2. Oh, Artemiev just sacked the piece. And now rook to d3. Oh, I still have no idea who's winning. And neither do the players. Rook takes g3. But there's rook f2. It's going to be rook f2, queen d1 check. Oh, man. This looks very, very scary for White. This might just be straight up lost. This might just be losing for White because rook takes g3 is coming. Queen on b6 is just out of the game. Levon has 5.5 minutes to try and defend. Okay, bishop e3 just gives the piece back. But he wants rook c1. Oh, very nice attempt. Look at this find. 20 seconds for Artemiev. White is going to win a piece on c5. But can he take on g3? Yeah, he's not taking on c5, folks, because what's to do after rook takes g3? Rook e2, also a very unpleasant move, just hitting the bishop. Yeah, if queen c5, I think rook e2 even. And you can't go rook f2. because black will trade everything and take on c1. So queen d2. Aronian still not out of the woods. Yeah, can you repeat here with rook d1? Maybe. Yeah, I think if you're Artemiev here, you got to be happy with the repetition. Number one, you're leading the match by a point. Number two, you have 20 seconds on the clock. Number three, you're like about to be down a piece if you're not careful. But Levon, I don't think he wants to draw. I think he wants to see, can he find something? But takes rook e2. I don't see a move there for white. This bishop on g2 is just a huge, huge target. Line rook d1, queen e2. Takes. Put this on the board. Yeah, queen f2, black has rook h1. Exactly these kinds of tactics. This is what Levon is trying to figure out and avoid. Because Artemiev for sure is going to see it. He's already seen it. He's already calculating. You know, Artemiev, he's just going. He's just going. He's still going. He's calculating right now. Levon is thinking, but so is Vlad. He's just seeing all these lines. Now rook takes c5. Rook e2. Yeah, I think white has a draw there. Looks like that might be perpetual. Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, Levon repeats once with rook d1, queen c2. Yeah, I'm not seeing a move for him here. If he plays on, he's really playing with fire. Despite Artemiev having 10 seconds. This guy's so strong. If there's a win, he will spot it. And you know Levon really, he just wants to go like some b4. He wants to find some move, but no, it's going to be very, very difficult here. Queen a5. Oh, he does play for the win. Oh, putting something on d2. But Artemiev, he goes rook e2. He takes the second rank. Levon gives check. Takes the rook. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. What a risk. What a risk. But seconds for Artemiev. Queen d8 was threatened. Look at Levon. Look at Levon. This is, folks, this is what you call fighting chess. Right? You put your king on h1. You put your queen on h8. You keep the game going. It's insanely risky. Black might be winning here after queen takes e4. I have no idea what's happening. This is wild chess. Queen d8, king b5. I think the king is running. And the problem for white is you can't leave the h-file with the queen. Oh man, he just took on a massive risk. And Artemiev, look at this. Finds king b6 with 4 seconds on his clock, avoiding the mate, getting the king to safety. Now black just has insane compensation here for the exchange. Knight takes e4, knight g3. Okay, b4. Oh, what a find. What a try. Takes. Queen takes e4. What about queen d8 check? Queen d8, queen a5. Oh, queen d8, king a7. If queen a5 check, there's knight a6. But he can also just take with check. Takes king b5. He can go up a full rook here, but then he's going to get mated, because then you rook to e1 is rook e2, followed by queen g2 mate. Aronian has a minute here to figure it out. So check, king a7. Queen d4 maybe? You have to attack black's queen. Queen d4 only move. Queen d4 only move. Maybe rook d4 is possible too. Maybe rook d4. gives check, but knight a6 now. Oh, queen e5. Attacks the queen this way. Artemiev, 1 second. Oh my god, queen c2. Just barely got that move off in time. Now he's starting rook h2 mate. Queen g2 mate. But you get the idea. What to do now? Queen h5 only move? But then black can start taking. Rook takes g3. I think this is lost for white. Rook g3, rook h3. This is over. This is over. Knight on a6 is just a brilliant defender. Artemiev is just a brilliant defender. Both these guys are just brilliant players, but Artemiev really, I mean, won this game. Seconds on it. I mean, he's got 3 seconds. It's still not over. It's still not over. Levon will find something. Queen h5, rook takes g3. I don't know that. Rook h3, this is brutal. This is a brutal threat. That's it. Artemiev is going to take this one. Unbelievable game. Wow. 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 I mean, look, we got to say Levon did it to himself. You know, he had the draw right here. I mean, felt like black cannot avoid the repetition. He played for the win, and sometimes it doesn't work out. I mean, what an attempt, though. What an attempt. But king b6, b4, and Artemiev on. I mean, this was insane level of game, guys. Insane level of game that Artemiev just played on the increment. Like 3200 level play there. And Levon, no, I think I think it was a very reasonable decision to take the risk. He's a point behind in the match. He's got 8 minutes against 2 seconds. It's very reasonable what he did, but he just ran into some absolutely insane defense from Artemiev. I mean, it was a big risk. Obviously, we can question it now that it didn't work out. But if he won that game, we'd be sitting here saying Levon's a genius, you know? So, hey, it's that's sport. That's how sports go. Okay, now Nepo, he is still cynically trying to make a draw in this game 3. He's up 2-0. He forced this endgame out of the opening. And now we have opposite color bishops with an extra pawn for white. Black should be completely fine here, but he's got a minute. I don't see Amin winning this one. So Nepo very likely to advance his position in the tournament. Yeah, unfortunately, of course, the players don't know the eval bar, obviously, while they're playing. All they know is that they have to try and do their best. And yeah, you know, there's few feelings worse, actually, than taking a draw and then looking at the game afterwards and seeing that you could have played for a win or you had some winning chance. There's few things worse. Few things worse. One of them, though, is, to be fair, playing for a win and then losing. That's pretty bad too. You know, what can I say? There's no winning in chess, guys. There's no, you know, you just win and then eventually you do lose, and then it's a very tough game. Very tough game. So draw agreed here. Nepo advances. He'll be facing the winner of Aronian Artemiev. Right now, of course, that is very much looking to be Artemiev. He's up 2-0 in this winner's match and just needs a draw out of the last 2 games. Their game 3 is going to be starting soon. Look, guys, Levon's a fighter. I don't think he's going to give up. I'm sure Artemiev is going to try to, you know, just end the match in game 3, but Levon will keep fighting, and he's had some chances in these games. He was actually winning both games at some point, or at least was doing well. So he'll definitely have some chances here. I think there is actually something good to be said about going for the win and losing. I actually do think that is in many cases the right approach, right? Even if it doesn't work out in the particular results, a lot of times taking a risk is better than taking no risk, because taking no risk is in itself taking a risk because then you're just letting the cards fall as they may, right? The chips fall as they may, and then you don't know actually what's going to happen unless you try to generate chances for yourself. Okay, folks. In the meantime, we have Armageddon game. This is in the losers bracket, so these folks are fighting for their lives. Rauf Mamedov against Fedoseev. Mamedov won the first game. Fedoseev then bounced back to win the second game, and now they're in Armageddon here. Fedoseev does have draw odds since he's playing black, and he started the game with a minute less. Sorry, not a minute, 4 minutes less. It was 11 minutes versus 15. We're also going to have another Armageddon coming up with Fressinet against Yakuboev. Another big matchup there. And yeah, this one's pretty sharp. This looks like some kind of English King's Indian type of thing. Let's just quickly run it back. King's Indian attack from Rauf Mamedov. Fedoseev, though, with the King's Indian defense. We'll see which player can use their Fiend Kettled monster better. And okay, it was a pretty quiet positional game. Both sides maneuvering, and now that the tactics have started here with c5. Black traded. Takes on b6 in between move, hitting the queen. Queen b7. Takes on e4, knight c5. Rook b4, knight d3. Whoa. Hung the exchange. Queen b3. Takes. Rook takes b6, b5, rook b8. Whoa, we got a lot of moves here, but I think Mamedov just kind of blew it in the last couple of moves. What happened? As we were playing through the game, knight c5, rook b4, knight d3. I think he might have mouse slipped, guys. I really think he might have mouse slipped here. I think he meant to play rook b5 because this move was a lot more obvious, hitting the knight, hitting the e-pawn. Mouse slips rook b4, knight d3, and then the next two moves came really quick because I think Mamedov is kind of just disgusted with himself. It really looks like a mouse slip. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a typical exchange sack, and he's still trying, but now this is an extra exchange for Fedoseev and pawn. And yeah, some compensation here for white on the light squares, but really not. It's purely like defensive compensation. Like maybe you get some blockade, but I don't think he's going to get any real chances here. Bishop takes f7 would run into rook takes b5, and then white is losing material there. So Fedoseev definitely looking like a solid favorite right now to advance in the losers bracket. Wow, folks, I took Claritin. The allergies just they vanished. They vanished like some of these players' chances in some of these matches. Ooh, f5, e4. The pawns are now rolling. Knight f3. Don't take that one. I've seen this movie before. It does not work out. It does not work out. Don't take that knight. But hey, he can get d3 in. Oh, he's going g5. Oh, this is just brutal. And Mahara, he's trying, folks. He's trying hard. He's punching those light squares. He's punching those light squares as best he can. E3. Fedoseev, yeah, very close to advancing here. White's just throwing everything he can, trying to get at the king, but king is very safe. Darkster bishop is going to be defending the king. H2. Yeah, king is just safe on H8. At any moment, black can just give back the exchange with rook takes b5, and he's just going to be up a couple pawns for no compensation. So, yeah, really the only way Fedoseev can lose this is just some kind of crazy mouse slip or blunder, or he disconnects for 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Position is just way too chaotic for white to achieve anything. Takes on e3. I feel like taking back is natural. Oh man, he's pushing this knight. G3, G4 now. Take on E3. Lots of options here for black. Or Queen H3, oh man. G2. It's all over. It's all over. And Mamadov resigns. Yeah, great. Nice win by Fedoseev. I think it might have been an unfortunate mouse slip by Mamadov that led to this. Always a shame when match kind of gets decided, but that's how it goes. In the meantime, I think we have another Armageddon starting up. If we can find it, we got it. We got Fressinet against Yakubov. Looks like Fressinet got black and 11 minutes 42 seconds with the draw odds. And they've played a very classic opening here by transposition. We've gotten Queen's Gambit declined, white goes Bishop F4. This has been kind of the modern approach away from the classical Bishop G5. And yeah, very kind of typical play here. A3, white's playing for B4, Queen C2, Queen A5. Here, if white were to play B4, black would just take it because the rook on A1 is hanging. So white prepares this with the rook to D1. Bishop E7, bishop drops back. Although in a lot of cases, B4 isn't really a threat because black goes knight takes B4, bishop takes B4, and then has tons of counterplay with the pin. Knight E4 coming, for example, and a lot of times black wins the piece back. So bishop E7 played. This is just a different variation. Knight to D2. And both sides here are still very much developing. E5, bishop G5, and now D4. Knight B3. Wow, move's still coming quite fast. I believe this is still some kind of theory. But basically, white needs to finish developing the king side and castle. Black, of course, has to make sure he doesn't lose the queen. And, of course, there's going to be some tension. So this one's still very much developing. I mean, this opening is still very, very sharp. Commentating solo, it's it's more fun, I think, to do it with a team, and it's less work. You don't have to talk as much, but I would say this is pretty, it's a pretty chill environment here at the dojo. So I don't mind doing it solo every now and then. Takes on f6, establishes this knight on d5 and queen d8. Yakubov here still needs to get his pieces out. Yep, there he goes. Bishop d3. Hitting the pawn, we'll see either g6 or h6 here. Looks like g6. And Fressinet here, he's got draw odds. So he's just playing with black. He's happy to make a draw. Draw is okay. With a draw, he advances. But no increment. No increment in this game. So it's not like you can just play forever and you're fine. Actually, folks, I'm going to take a real quick break. I'm going to leave the game on so you can watch that. But I'm going to step out for a sec. I'll be back. And yeah, we got plenty more chess coming up. Actually, just to update you guys, Vladislav, Baby Don't Hurt Me, Artemiev, he is up 2-0 against Aronian, so he just needs a draw in this game. If he makes his draw, then he advances and he'll play Nepo in the winner's bracket final. But let's go back to the Armageddon. Jacobo Fressinet. Looks like we had exchange on d4, white finally castles, and bishop g7. Folks, I'm going to be right back, take a quick break. In the meantime, I'll leave the game on. Yakubov must win situation. Fressinet with the draw odds. See you guys soon. Alrighty, folks, we are back. And what is going on here? Yakubov brings his knight to b7. c6. Wow. Were these pieces invited in? I don't think so. Queen a3. He's now down on the clock. This is Armageddon, so he's got to win this one. But White's position looks very, very nice. I mean, this pawn on c6, super hard to deal with. Bishop e5. Fressinet, not worried about the a-pawn. What does he want on queen takes a7? Yakubo doesn't take it. Bishop d3 first. Tagging the bishop. Oh, maybe black wanted bishop c4 takes b5. Maybe that was the idea. So bishop d3 covering this one. Oh, very smart. These grandmasters are very good at this game. And they're quite good at not allowing the opponent any tricks or counterplay. So bishop c8. Fressinet trying to defend. Looking maybe to take on b7. f4. Oh, rook on e7 is hanging. Uh-oh. Bishop f6 defends it. Now, what does Yakubov want? f4 is a very responsible decision. This pawn does not go backwards and is going to be very weak on the dark square. So, does he want to trade all the heavy pieces, or what is he looking to do here? It's not really clear. This bishop lands on e7, and the knight on b7 starts to feel a bit funny. Like it has no good moves. So f4, bishop f6 came, and yeah, I wonder if Noterbeck missed something here, or maybe he's looking at knight d6. Then black can trade on e2. Knight takes e8. Queen d6. Ooh, a different move. Now if rook takes e2, white will have the option to go queen takes c7, winning the queen for two rooks. Rook takes e1 check, king h2. Ooh, that's a very, very sharp position. Then white has like bishop c4 ideas, hitting f7. Black can come back, rook e7. I'm not sure what the evaluation is there. Maybe on rook e2, white can also just recapture and just leave the queen. Oh, that's what he wants. Rook takes e2, hitting this one with check. And if rook takes e2, then queen takes c7. Black could take here, though. And then either knight takes d6 or rook takes e8, queen f8. Take, knight d6. And at least the knight gets out. So I would feel like white has actually a very reasonable endgame here. Maybe even winning, actually. It might just be winning on the spot. c7, the pawn is just running. What am I talking about? So this is a very critical moment here for Fressinet. He really has to calculate precisely. But what to do? He trades on d6 first, takes on e2. And if both rooks come off, white's just pushing c7 and winning the piece. So he can't trade rooks on e2. He has to go rook d8 here. And now minimum white can take, go bishop c4 and claim he's just much, much better with the nice bishop, pawn on c6. But maybe Yakubov is going to look for more. Remember, there's no increment in this game. So once the clocks get down, they go way down. Oh, c7. Big move from Yakubov. If rook takes d6, rook e8 check, rook takes c8. And then black will have no way of stopping the pawn, so he can't even take. He has to go rook f8. If takes, check, and takes, there is no way to get over. And white was just going to go rook g8, next move and win the game. So rook f8 on the board. Feels so close to winning for white, but how to break through? Bishop e4, rook c2. This is one plan. You trade on c8, you put the bishop on b7. But black will go d3 somewhere and mess with white's activity. So it's not so easy. Also, black has to move bishop e7 to harass the knight. Oh, how to play this one? Maybe bishop c4? Just gang up on the c pawn? F pawn? And then white is covering the e7 square. He might have something else, like some weird, I don't know, knight e8 move, but bishop c4 looks quite reasonable to me. Wonder what is he? Oh, we have moves. G4, bishop d7, g5, bishop g7. Oh, g4, g5. He goes for this plan. Now the rook invades. Bishop takes on h3. f5. Oh, shutting off the bishop. And that's it. The c pawn is going to cost black a full rook. Folks, I think this is just game over. Fressinet is going to resign this one very soon because black just has no counterplay. White's just winning the rook. Oh, this f5 move is sick. Absolutely sick. If bishop takes f5, white just trades bishops and promotes, and the extra rook is going to take it. And Fressinet resigns. Yeah, there's no move. Nothing to do. So Yakubov advances. He'll be playing the next match. Fressinet, unfortunately, eliminated from the event. Let's jump to Artemiev Aronian. And Artemiev here, he's up 2-0 in this match. He's down to his usual 40 seconds, as we've seen him all day in time trouble. But his position is quite nice, honestly. He's got two bishops. Nice center. He just played b4, fixing black's weakness. So now it's hard for black to really do anything on the queen side. If he advances c5, white can just trade off this pawn and leave black with an isolated b pawn. True, the pawn would be passed, but it would also be a possible weakness. So objectively, white's position here is certainly completely fine. The only issue, of course, is the clock, but Artemiev has shown he can play with basically no time and just use his opponent's time, anticipate his opponent's moves, calculate ahead of time, and just find basically all the right moves to convert positions. So yeah, here this feels very safe for white. He's got moves like bishop d6, bishop c5. E5 might be an idea. Of course, he wants to go rook d1 and attack this knight on d7. So yeah, very, very tough situation for Levon. We can run it back, just quickly see what happened in this game. This was a must-win game for Aronian. He goes for the King's Indian. What else? And definitely tried to keep the game quite dynamic. And I think he succeeded. He got a very very unbalanced position, but Artemiev, I think, played well. Gets the two bishops. Bishop h3, f3. Rook d4, offering the exchange sacrifice. Denied. But bishop c5, Ronin kind of insists. Takes. Here. d3 check. Wins back the exchange. Takes on c2. There were some complications in this game, but queen c2, rook e8, b4. And yeah, now Levon is spending his time because he's trying to figure out how to play this position for a win. How can he possibly pose some problems to Artemiev to get anything in this one? And honestly, guys, doesn't look like he's gonna get it. So it definitely seems like this is Artemiev's match to take. And we'll see if he's able to finish it off. In the meantime, let me see what's going on in the losers bracket. So Esipenko defeated Sarana 2-0. Yakubov wins over Fressinet 2-1 in the Armageddon. Alexeyev knocks out Suleimanli 1.5. And Fedoseev, we saw, defeated Mamadov in the Armageddon. So next up in the losers bracket, we're going to have Fedoseev against Alexeyev and Yakubov against Esipenko. A rook to d1 now on the board. So Aronian, interestingly, played c5. Wow. Allowing white to take, but Artemiev starts with rook to d1, hitting the knight on d7 first. He wants to see how black defends it, and then he'll consider taking the pawn. Also has some rook d6 possibilities as well. So very sharp here, very sharp. Queen a7, defending with the queen. And we have 20 seconds, takes on c5. Now, how will black take back? With the queen or with the knight? Both seem possible, but in both cases, this b pawn is going to be weak. And if anyone's playing for the win here on the board, I think it's white. Two bishops very, very strong in an open position. Bishop e3 now. Could be a possibility. Does Aronian have a trick? What's he doing on bishop e3? Queen a4. Forces the queens off. Rook d6. Knight h5. Can Levon manage to generate anything here? He needs a win to stay in the match. Otherwise, he is getting pushed into the loser's bracket himself. He'll have to try and bounce back. Now f5. Oh, what a move. He's trying. He's going for it. But bishop f1, Artemiev too solid. Looking for bishop takes b5. Hitting all of black's pieces here. Black no time to take on e4. Goes knight c3, bishop d4. White's two bishops are working. Now rook c8. He can trade on c3 if he wants, but I think he wants more. No, he takes. Maybe take on f5. Takes on b5. Artemiev just trying to trade everything off and force that draw. Aronian looking for any chance here to keep the game alive. But what can he do? He's down a pawn. He can win the pawn back on f3, but then it's going to be 2v2 on the king side, bishop versus knight. In fact, Artemiev on rook takes f3. He can even go bishop e2 and just take on h5 and just completely liquidate everything. And yeah, black is never winning this one. So this match might well be over, folks. Takes on e4. Rook e3. He's going to try to play maybe with rook and knight, but yeah, white is very, very solid here and is up a pawn for the moment. Can put the bishop on d5. And yeah, if anything, black here is the one that has to make sure that they can even hold the draw. But okay, Aronian in a must-win situation. Yeah, I think if this was a regular game, I think Artemiev would just be playing for the win. Like he's not even trying to make a draw anymore. You know, pawn is advancing to e5, e6. As long as black's counterplay is kept at bay here, white essentially isn't really risking anything. Next, I believe you should try to maybe bring the king in. Or bishop g8. Artemiev going after the h7 pawn. The more pawns that come off the board, the closer white is to just absolutely zero losing chances anymore. King G5. H4. Oh, creating some squares for White's king. And Bishop E6 check. Oh, and that's it. Artemiev's winning this one. Just grab the knight on G4. That's it. That's it. Levon's only chance to set up some checkmate with the king and the rook, but Artemiev is going to see it coming a mile away. Rook C3, Levon just playing out of inertia here. White completely winning. Just has to make sure not to hang anything, not to flag. He also has to decide, does he want to win the game or just draw the game? And I think he's going to try to win it. But of course, a draw here is just as good for Artemiev. I think just in terms of the pure sporting aspects of the game, I feel like Artemiev tries to win this one. Now, this isn't actually a trivial endgame to win, despite the extra piece. Oh, but Aronian, nice move there, Rook H5, actually, I think, to force the draw. And oh, man. Wow, folks, you can see it right here, 100% he wants the win. Look at that. He had the draw right there. He can just trade rooks. The game is over. It's wrong color rook pawn, so he's not winning with the bishop, but no. Keeps the rooks on the board. Wow. Aronian, he's begging for mercy. Levon is like, please, you win the match. I'm done. Just take it. You won the match. Levon's like, just take it. Why are you? Artemiv's like, no, man, no. That's not how we do things here, Levon. I want that 3-0. Now Ronin has to defend. I don't think I've ever seen this. I don't think I've ever seen a player down up 2-0 forcing his opponent to play out rook and bishop versus rook because he wants to try to squeeze out an extra house. I don't think I've ever seen any match. I don't know if it's ever happened. Usually they just give you the mercy draw because the match is over. 2.5 half. But no, Artemiev, he wants that win. He wants that win. Now, it's not like there's nothing to play for. I do think the players earn bonuses based on how many actual points they score in the division. I could be wrong on that. Maybe someone can fact check that, but I do believe the players literally earn more money based on scoring more decisive points. Maybe that's only Division 1, I'm not sure, but I believe they are rewarded for the fighting chess. So it's not crazy here that Artemiev is playing on and trying to win this one. And from Levon's perspective, I mean, all right, it's unpleasant. You have to defend this endgame. You've kind of lost the match. What's the point? But hey, Artemiev can still flag. You're still in it. Artemiev can still flag. He can hang the rook. You guys probably don't know, but I recently won a game, queen against queen and bishop, over the board chess. It happens. It happens. Accidents happen. So, Levon, I mean, I feel like he can't be too upset that Artemiev is playing this on. At least it's good practice. A bit of endgame sparring, rook and bishop against rook. Definitely some good practice here. But yeah, Artemiev is going to take this one, and he is going to face Nepo tomorrow in the winners division final. In the meantime, I think we're going to get more games in the losers bracket, but I'm not totally sure, so I'm going to have to check on that. But yeah, Artemiev, he's still trying. He's still trying. He's going to play all 50 moves. Artemiev does not care. The dude just does not care. Rook c4, threatening the mate. I think Levon so far has defended this one to his credit, like extremely well. I mean, I haven't been watching too carefully, but I don't think Artemiev has actually been close here to definitely I don't think he's been winning at any point, but yeah, I'm not sure if he's been close to generating any chances. And Levon, he's like, dude, come on. He's like, just let me trade rooks. Just let me trade. But yeah, I think he's holding here. Maybe rook b4 now. Just keep your king kind of on the dark squares near your rook. That's kind of the approach. Yeah, white is just trying every which way, trying from one angle, other angle, king side, queen side, long side, short side, top side, bottom side, left side, right side, up, down. I mean, yeah, just hoping to break the defense, but no, Levon holding this one very comfortably. And they've made something like, I don't know exactly, maybe like 20, 30 moves already. 30 moves, I think, since the last capture. Maybe even more. They might even be closer to 40 at this point. So they will be hitting the 50. Oh, there we go. And game drawn by the 50 move rule. And Artemiev advances against his better wishes, but 2.5 half. He'll face Nepo, who also won. So great match by Artemiev. Some amazing play, especially with less than a minute on his clock. He basically won 2 games on the increments. So very, very well played by him. Aronian and Amin, they're not out. They're actually going to be going into the losers bracket and facing some of the eventual winners. So they'll have a second chance to come back in this tournament. And yeah, Levon definitely feels like one of the favorites to try and advance out of the losers bracket. Let's see if we have more matches today. Right now, I'm not really seeing what's going on. A lot of times you get multiple matches in the losers bracket because they're only playing 2-game matches, so they're possibly going to play next. So yeah, looks like we should have Esipenko against Yakuboev and Fedoseev against Alexeyev. The question is when that's going to be starting. Oh, and games are underway. Nice. We got games. All right, so next matches have already started. This is Esipenko, Yakuboev, and we also have Fedoseev against Alexeyev. These are the 2 matches in the losers bracket. Now the winners of these matches are going to face Aronian and Amin, who just got eliminated from the winners bracket. So Levon and Basim, they'll get a second chance against the winners of these matches. And then tomorrow, Nepo versus Artemiev, they're going to play in the winners final. And then they'll eventually face whoever gets out of the losers bracket. All right, so you guys have a preference as to which games you want to watch, y'all let me know. Hey man, you would have blundered your rook long before. You got to work on that, Stayman. You got to not blunder your rooks. I'm gonna go ahead and say that is not a good approach. Okay, why don't we watch Esipenko against Yakubov? This feels like a very exciting opening. Let's just quickly go through the moves. This was Rossalimo. So bishop b5, g6, castles, bishop g7, white goes c3. Often the point of this one, of course, is to push d4. Black played e5, white goes d4 anyway, opening up the center, but sacrificing a pawn in order to take space. This is a pretty modern pawn sacrifice where white gets kind of long-term compensation and tries to lodge the knight, for example, to e4 and d6. This is kind of what white is playing for in this position. So bishop f4, supporting the e-pawn, rook e1, all of white's pieces developing, and now black gives back the pawn basically because probably was concerned about knight e4, knight coming into d6, and just completely dominating the position. So d6, giving back the pawn, knight f5, trying to win the pawn again, and getting the extra pawn. Knight e4, white defends the pawn, and now knight a5 on the board from Yakubov. So very, very sharp position here. Black is starting basically to try and trade a lot of stuff off. Knight takes b3, bishop takes e4, and then eventually snag that pawn on d6 and emerge with an extra pawn. Black also has a very nice bishop on g7 that is kind of going to be exerting pressure over the whole board. Okay, very cool. So this is game one, folks, of two. I'm going to take a very quick break. I'll leave the game going, but I'm going to jump up for a sec and catch you guys in a little bit. But we'll keep the stream going, and we're going to be watching watching the winners of these matches. All right, folks. See you all. See you all in a bit. Alrighty, folks, we are back. What is happening? Very hectic position. So black hasn't won this pawn back on d6 yet. White went bishop g5, hitting the queen, queen d7. Bishop drops back to c2. Now knight takes d6, maybe runs into knight c5. Oh no, I'm sorry, just trade simple and bishop e7, right? Winning the exchange. So rook a8 played instead. Material equal for the moment. But position very, very complicated. Very, very tricky middle game. So Esipenko on the move. A few options here, especially like knight f6 check is being offered to him, where black will have to give up the dark squared bishop. We get some position like this, but there could be some further complications, like rook takes e1 check. If queen takes e1, there's bishop takes f3, wrecking the structure. So maybe you go knight takes e1. Then queen takes d6. Black does get kind of extra pawn here with this d pawn. So it's unclear if you do want knight f6 check. That is kind of sacrificing a pawn. So yeah, very, very complicated situation. Let's see what he does. I'm just here chewing my breakfast. Esipenko, he's like super tanking. He started this move with like twice the time of Yakubov. He had 9 minutes on the clock. Now he's down to 4.5. Just like completely frozen. Doesn't know what to do. I mean, I don't know either, but hey, it's not it's not my game. You know, maybe B3. Okay, now he's gone under. Now once you go under the opponent, that's you've crossed the line. You have to move. You just have to. And yeah, he feels it. Yeah, as a chess player, once you go below the opponent, then you have to go. You just have to go. So knight c5. He's come up with some concrete idea here. Trades on b7. So he gives back, or he gives one pawn away, but he can take on f5, yeah, and ruin black structure. So this is what he was kind of evaluating. Queen d3, and yeah, all right, some compensation here for white for sure. For sure. Yeah, still an extra pawn for black, but not a very healthy one, right? We can see white targeting this pawn. Minutes for Yakubov to do. Gives back the f pawn. It's like white is doing well here. Black's kingside very precarious. Like bishop e7, queen g4, knight f5. Feels like things could get very, very dicey here for black. But he's calculating bishop e7, rook e8, rook e8. It's going to be not so easy. Panko thinking here. What to do, huh? What to do? Bishop is hanging. Maybe a3? But black wants to run the d pawn. d3, d2. Okay, drops back. Now queen g4 is coming, so maybe d3. d3 feels very logical to open up the queen and the bishop and the rook and the pawn. 4 pieces get improved with this move, d3. That's a lot. So yeah, played. Wait, what does white have here? How to... Its knight needs to jump to f5, right? The queen and the knight need to switch places, and then white would have a very strong attack. Bishop takes h6, and so on. What to do? What to do? The rook needs to include itself some way as well. Maybe rook e4? Then queen c2. All right, queen h5. Going for the transfer. And threatening bishop takes h6, of course. So queen c2. Can he take on h6? There's going to be d2 and d1, though, with instant counterplay. So I don't know if white can take this one. d2 is going to be very scary. Maybe just rook d1 now? Might have to go rook d1 to keep the blockade. But that's not what white wants, because the queen can't really hold the rook and help take on h6. Okay, knight f3 comes back with the knight. Not what you want to do. The knight wanted to jump to f5, but now he does control the d2 square, so he's threatening to take. Queen takes, knight g5, and then play for mate. But takes, there's still d2, so actually you can't take right away. Because black will trade once and go d2. It's tough for white. Very, very tough. Also tough for black. Because how do you break this blockade? Because white isn't necessarily wanting to take here. He has other moves as well. He can consider rook e7, followed by bishop e1. He can start with h3 first, g4, g5. This rook e7 could be very annoying, although knight d6 kind of defends the knight and defends the f pawn. It's going to come down to the wire here. Yeah, 20 seconds for Yakubov. Okay, takes on b2, takes on h6. Yeah, because now trades. There's no d2, d1. Or is there? d2? Oh, rook d1. Yeah, white would have won the pawn. But queen g7. Black trying to defend the king. But will white trade queens or just snag on a6? Try to grab some merch on the queen side. That's a lot of merch. You got the a6 pawn, b5 pawn. Black just has this one pawn, but d2, there's always rook d1. Maybe you could have gone queen a1? I think this was an option, folks. d2. Oh, but d2 white can take. I was thinking, whoops, rook d1, queen a1 would be nice, but d2 white can take. Queen takes a6, knight d6, queen b6 on the board, queen f6. Rook d1, knight e4. Black down a pawn, offering the endgame, offering the second pawn as well. Feels like very good chances for Esipenko to take this first game. Just find a way to Convert this. Okay, drops back. Queen e3. Very safe. Very safe decision. Okay, we got this queen endgame now, but 2 extra pawns for white. He's managed to take this d pawn, and yeah, Sapenko should be converting this first game. Hello, GM Smurfette. How's it going? Okay, but not so fast. Queen b1. Yakubov hitting the a2 pawn and trying to defend f7. But if queen takes a2, queen takes b4. White can take this b pawn. Queen d5 check. Knight f3. Does black have anything? I think white is safe. Queen g4 coming. Check and queen f4 now from Esipenko, covering all the squares. Oh, queen e5, even better. Trying to force the queen trade. If white gets the queen trade, then knight endgame is totally, totally winning. So h4. Esipenko definitely in charge in this one. And he should be winning. In the meantime, I want to jump to Fedoseev against Alexeyev, because this endgame is a lot more dramatic. I think Fedoseev is more active, playing for the win. Ooh, knight h5, nice blockade. Let's see if he can actually convert this. e3. Or black is just trying to maneuver this knight around, but it's hard. If the knight strays too far, white's h-pawn is going to start running. So this feels quite drawish, in fact. I feel like black doesn't really have much here, but Fedoseev, he's a madman. He's going to try knight f6, knight d5 check. He's going for it. Okay, but king d4. If black isn't careful, white's going to get some huge counterplay on the queen side. Knight e4, though, nice move, covering the c5 square and advancing g3. Maybe black can still do something here, but h5, here comes the h-pawn. Now g3, but just takes, just sacrifices the bishop and king c5. And yeah, this should be enough for white to make a draw. I don't see how black defends these pawns and takes the h-pawn in time. Try like knight e2, knight here, but this is actually a reasonable try. King c5, but he's going to attack the knight and then come back. And I don't see... Yeah, there's no good... Wait, hold on. Knight b1? You play knight a2. How about knight b1? Knight b1, knight a3, I thought, is interesting. Oh, but the knight gets trapped. Okay, so they just make a draw. So if knight b1... My idea was to put the knight, like king c5, knight a3, then white's stuck, and black just takes and comes back with. The issue is, white can go this way, and do this. And then this, I don't know who's winning, but yeah, definitely not black. Black is not winning this one. Looks like a draw. Okay, so Esipenko did win this first game with the 2 extra pawns in the knight endgame. So he's going to be up 1-0 going into game 2 of this match. Fedoseev, Alexeyev, they draw their game 1, so they're going to be tied going into game 2. So Yakubov here, he's in a must-win situation as white. Goes for the Rui. And castles a4. White does not want to allow the marshal after c3, d5. a4, rook b8, takes, h3, d6, c3, b4, d3. Wow, the moves are just flying in. Takes. Yakubov needs to win this game in order to force Armageddon if he wants to advance. Actually, let me see if I can get the losers bracket up on the screen here. Give me 1 second, folks. There we go. There's the matches that we're following. Actually, we should probably include the scores. Whoa, G4. Wow. Look at that. G4. What a move. What a move. The guy wants to attack, folks. What can you say? The guy wants to attack. Take, rook e8, bishop e3, h6, knight d2, bishop f8. Now g4. Oh, actually, folks, give me 1 sec. We got to turn this. We got to turn the AC on. It is getting warm in here. All right, G4. So what is Yakubov doing? I mean, he's attacking. He wants to build up like knight f1, knight g3. And then he's got these pawns that could be pushed on the king side. Okay. I mean, he's in a must-win situation. You know, can we really blame him for doing this? I don't think so. Knight h7 logical. Esipenko just defending against the g5 break, not wanting to let white just break with g5 right away. And d4, kind of a surprising move. White, after going g4, now plays d4, taking advantage of the fact that the knight moved away from the center. So maybe looking for some bishop a4, some d5 ideas. Yeah, could be some pressure for black here. That's for sure. Okay, D4. Esipenko still thinking. Yakubova, by the way, 15 minutes on the clock. So playing very fast so far, indicating he kind of knows a little something something about this opening. H5. Eh, okay. H5, huh? This. Fighting back. And Yakubo just goes bishop a4. Yeah, he tags the knight because this is going to force bishop d7. Black's concept is based on gh5, bishop takes h3. But if this bishop is pinned to the knight, well then gh5 is just a free pawn for white. Although, of course the pawns are a bit weak, but I do wonder what Esipenko has in mind. Yakubov asking a very logical question here. Bishop a4. Okay, bishop d7, not much to do there for white. Now gh5. And he's asking another question. It's like, all right, I just took your pawn, bro. What are you gonna get for it? And if nothing happens, white's gonna go king h1, rook g1, h6, start doing some damage on this king side. Takes on d4. You're pausing. Normally you'd want to take back with the pawn. Keep a strong center. You'll need a reason not to do that. You could consider taking with the knight, but then that invites a lot of trades, and I don't think white wants to trade pieces here, since he's the one that's attacking. So I'm expecting c takes d4, but yeah, I'm not sure what he's thinking about. Maybe he's worried about knight back to f6, hitting e pawn and h pawn. Not moving yet. He's wondering maybe he should take with the knight on d4. But yeah, that invites a lot of trades. I don't like that. Queen can come into h4. Trades. This queen gets in. So yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure. In the meantime, Alexeyev, Fedoseev, very classical position. They have a queen's gambit declined. Uh, Carlsbad structure is what they ended up getting after the trade of pawns. And yeah, very classic position. They trade dark squared bishops. Knight f6. This is about as solid as they come. Fedoseev, I think, definitely going to be trying to squeezing this one at least a little bit, seeing if he can get anything going in this position, but won't be easy. Won't be easy. Typical plan is to like advance on the queen side, maybe build up some kind of f3 e4 break, but it's very far from white for doing that. And in the meantime, black has plans like knight b6, bishop g4, bringing the knight to d6. It's considered a very typical approach here for black, and Very, very solid here. So I'm kind of expecting this game to go the drawish route, and we might be seeing an Armageddon in this match. This match is tied half-half, so if this game is drawn, then they're going to Armageddon. In the meantime, Noterbeck, though, must-win situation against Esipenko. Let's see what he did. He did take with the pawn. Knight b4 was the response. Trades on d7. Queen takes d7. Now king h2 defending the h-pawn. d5. d5, that makes sense. Striking back at the light squares. I imagine white's going to go e5, but then queen f5 is going to come. And black is getting a lot of light squares in this position. Esipenko, I feel like actually playing this really well. I'm not sure if white is even better in this position. After queen f5, white, black's going to be threatening knight c2 to win the exchange. Knight d3 could be a move. Of course, going to be looking to just win back the pawn. And yeah, looking very solid for Esipenko right now. Yeah, Esipenko, I was thinking about it. Down 6 minutes, hasn't played queen f5 just yet. Go c5. c5. Wow. Wow. So DC, he wants knight d3 probably, right? Hitting the rook and looking to win back one of the pawns. Tacticos. And white's pawns here are really mixed up. And yeah, Yakubov here on the on just struggling, I feel like, to really generate something here. Very well played by Esipenko this match. He's really been crushing it. Keshka Chess with the raid. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is Dojo. How's it going? We're watching the Julius Baer Generation Cup Division 2. This is a critical match here between Noterbek Yakubov against Andrei Esipenko. Esipenko leading the match by 1 point. So Yakubov here in a must-win situation. These are 2-game matches, so Yakubov has to win this game to keep the match going and taking it to Armageddon. Last move here was c5. DC played, knight d3, rook g1, knight takes c5. Esipenko, I feel like, defending very well, looking like a favorite to advance. Let's give Peshka Chess a shout out, folks. Go follow Peshka if you haven't already. They were definitely last seen playing chess. Hey, knight c5. Noterbeck, a bit of a time advantage, but needs to figure out how to play this position for a win. And that's a lot easier said than done. Okay, rook g4, lifting the rook. Now black is going to be trying to pick back one of these pawns. It's very interesting. These positions, you don't see them too often when like all the pawns are left on one side of the board and there's like a ton of there's like queens, heavy piece. Just in general, having queens on the board with all the pawns on one side is unusual already. A lot of times the queens have been traded off by this point. If this was an end game, this would make a lot more sense. But we have a middle game. So queen comes to f5. Very logical move, just eyeing this weak h-pawn. Black just wants to take it and have a solid position. Who can blame him? How is Yakubov going to keep this going? He can go h6. But then black goes g6. Knight f1 seems natural. Yeah, I would agree. Knight f1. This is like very logical move trying to bring the knight. You give um, black the chance to kind of blunder here too, actually, because takes knight g3. Just like traps the queen, right? So actually knight f1 looks like a very reasonable move. I guess, of course, black doesn't have to take. Maybe knight e4 might be better. I'm not sure. There's queen d5 here. Hard to say. H6 on the board, actually. So he does go for h6. G6. This also makes sense because this keeps the pawn alive this way. And it's an extra pawn for white, but it's like such an unhealthy. I don't even count it as an extra pawn in my brain. It's like an extra H pawn. These pawns are, yeah, very dubious in terms of their value because they only control one square, guys. I mean, I don't know who needs to hear this, but pawns on the rim only control one square. And that's what makes them worse in many cases to non-rook pawns. Because non-rook pawns control two squares. Whoops. Yeah, you control the square in front of you. No, they control two squares, right? So these rook pawns, white has two of them. They're basically doing the job of one pawn. They're controlling a combined total of two squares. Right? So effectively, it's like both sides have three pawns. Except one of white's pawns controls g4 and g7. That's what white's pawn is doing. So it feels very solid. I don't think black has a lot to prove here. Knight can go to e6. The rook can maneuver. Black can activate their pieces, and yeah, Noterbeck's gonna need some magic solution here or something to make this work. Yeah, the only way this h pawn can be useful is if it gets traded off for a real pawn. Exactly. Like you always want to try to trade off your weaknesses for the enemy's healthy pawns. All right, so g6. So Esipenko here looking very solid. In the meantime, we have our second game in the losers bracket, Fedoseev, Alexeyev. This one has developed a bit, so let's just go back a couple moves, see how this one played out. Rook e1, a4, a5, queen b3, queen b4. I offer a queen trade. Denied. Knight f8, knight e5. I offer knight trade. Denied. Knight f6, queen b1, knight g6, knight g5, bishop d7. Fedoseev, yeah, he's maneuvering. He's very much trying to still squeeze this one. And queen c5, offering the queen trade once again. Hey, we got the raid. It's Ben and Karen. Thank you so much, folks. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Division 2. Give you guys a shout out. Action still going here. I guess you guys had an early day today. If all the matches are done. Thanks for following, folks. This is Chess Dojo. We've been covering Division 2 in this tournament all week and throughout this weekend. And yeah, our winners matches for the day are done. Let me catch you guys up on the results in case you're curious. Artemiev defeated Aronian 2.5-1/2. Very brutal match. And Nepomniachtchi sent Basim Amin down to the losers bracket, also by a score of 2.5-1/2. So it's Nepo Artemiev in the winners bracket here. That's going to be tomorrow's match. Right now we're watching the two ongoing matches in the losers bracket. This one between Fedoseev and Alexeyev, excuse me. Fedoseev, Alexeyev, with the rhymey names. They're tied 1/2-1/2. They drew their first game. This is game 2. Fedoseev looking to put some pressure. And the other match we're following, this one's a little bit more exciting, so we're going to stick to this one. We have Yakuboev against Esipenko, battle of the young juniors. And here Yakuboev lost the first game, trying to bounce back in the second game. Rook A7, Knight D3, King G2. But Esipenko, he's kind of not having it. He's kind of like, you know what, actually, I think I'm going to be the one that's advancing here. Notre Beck. And yeah, right now Esipenko, he won the first game, so he's up a point. He just needs a draw to clinch this match and advance to the next stage of the losers bracket. If Esipenko wins, he'll play the winner of our other match here, Fedoseev Alexeyev. And in the meantime, we also have Aronian and Basim Amin waiting in the wings here in this division, as they have second chance to win this event. So, all right, King G2 on the board. Esipenko, 3.5 minutes, though. He just needs a draw in this game. His position looks quite healthy. He can even take on E5 right now and just get his pawn back. But he's also in, like, absolutely no rush. I feel like Black has a lot of moves. Bishop C5 maybe as well. So Esipenko here in prime position to advance, but we'll see if he can actually convert and finish this one off. Let's flip the board. We'll watch it from his view. Now under 3 minutes. Do we get Bortnick's next match here? Wait, Bortnick. What division is Bortnick in? Because he's not in Division 2. I don't think he's a Division 2 player. He beat Andreikin. So that's Division 3, right? So Bortnick, then, he's going to be playing again tomorrow. Unless he's playing right now. But I'm only right now I'm only tracking the Division 2 games. So yeah, I don't know for sure. But here's what I can do for you. I can drop you the link to the tournament. In fact, I should have done this earlier, but we're gonna paste the link to the chat and pin it so you guys, if you want to see the full bracket and everything for all the divisions, go to that chess.com/events page, and then you'll be able to see the different divisions, the different rounds, all the games, all the results, all the brackets. I know it's quite a bit, but it's quite fun actually. I quite like the multiple division format. You know, giving players lots of chances to qualify, advance to the next bracket, and so on. But yeah, I believe if Division 3 is done for the day, then yeah, Bortnick's next round should be tomorrow. Okay, 93 King G2, Rook B4 played. Esipenko no longer messing around. He wants that counterplay, trading off White's Rook on G4. White can of course take, and then maybe he takes with the bishop actually. I'm not sure. Yakuboev here gonna have to come up with something to turn this game around. b4. What to do? Can you put something on d4? Yeah, everything feels super loose for white. If you put something on d4, black can start putting stuff on c5. h6 is hanging. Very hard for white to keep everything together. If knight d4, then I think minimum you can go queen takes e5. Knight c6, there's rook takes g4 check. And then you move the queen and black should be safe. Rook b4, critical moment here for Yakuboev. What to play? Gosh, how to keep the game going? Maybe rook g3 just to keep the rook on the board, but it's a very sad move to make. Your rook just feels completely stuck. Black has stuff like knight f4 check. Really, really tough spot. But this is where strong players, I mean, they find just absolutely insane resources sometimes. Knight d4, rook takes d4. Oh, I didn't see that one coming. He just sacks the exchange. Why did he do that? I have a question. Why did he do that? Rook takes d4, bishop c5? That might be the idea. Wow, exchange sack. But then what's going on after bishop takes d4? Knight f4 check. Some knight takes h3 stuff. What's going on? Bishop takes d4 played. Bishop takes h6. Esipenko just sacrificed the exchange. I don't understand why. Let's go back. We gotta try to figure this one out. So knight d4. If queen takes e5, I guess there was knight to f3. And this might have been a problem. Queen b8. Oh, rook takes f. There's all kinds of stuff here. Wow. Some insane tactics. Rook takes g6. This one is hanging. Oh, d3 is hanging. Oh, that's why. So, yeah, if takes here, this one is hanging. So white can just take, and then, yeah, this is a big problem for black. So this rook b4 move, still though, I feel like Esipenko defending really, really well with this exchange sack, because he straight up has a lot of chances here. I think we were maybe misevaluating the position. Maybe Yakubov had more attacking play than we gave him credit for, but Esipenko kind of snuffs it out, sacks the exchange, takes on h6, knight f3. Now he's got some nice compensation here, and this is definitely not easy for white to convert. But he's got an extra exchange, and so absolute must-win situation right now for Yakuboev. H5, black though holding on to everything. And he wants to start bringing knights to g5. Yeah, exactly. Knight g5. White takes this one. Does black have anything? Is there any tricks? Some knight h3 stuff. Knight f4. Not looking obvious. Maybe rook d8 to start. White just snagged the pawn, and now white is up in exchange and the pawn. So this is a huge chance for Yakuboev to win the game and get back in the match. Yeah, he can take on d4. That's a good line. Queen d4, queen h4. But then he ends up in this endgame. And this is not super easy. Hard to judge, but I think he's kind of looking at this right now. That's a big option for black. Although maybe knight d4, white can also just go rook d4. And there's no, maybe no clear path here. Okay, bishop f8, just playing solid. It's now a bullet game. 3-second increments. Both players going to have to play very fast here. And Noterbek convert with the extra exchange. Let's flip it back from white's point of view. Bishop e3. Yakubov has to give everything he has here to win the game. Bishop e7. 30 seconds for each player f4. Oh man, it's nerve-wracking. Nerve-wracking. Division 2 on the line. Can Yakubov escape elimination? Knight takes g6. Oh, what a tactic. Oh, beautiful find. He's got queen takes e6. And that's it. That's going to end the game. That's just devastation. Bishop g5. Desperate attempt from Esipenko, but okay. Yakubov has to keep his cool here. Hold on. Knight is hanging now. So the knight is hanging. Knight e7 check. It's all a matter of puzzle rush. 3 seconds. Takes on g5. Black is down a full rook right now, but he's got queen takes h3. Can Esipenko swindle his way to a draw here? Rook at the moment. Queen takes h3 is a huge threat. Oh, knight g6 check. Knight g6 check. If takes, there's rook f4. So queen takes. Rook takes g5. Oh, fantastic find by Yakubov, and he wins the game. If queen takes g5, we have queen takes f7 mate. What a clutch win by Yakubov to take the match to Armageddon. Beautiful find there. Knight takes g6. Wow, Esipenko tried, but fantastic conversion there to win the game. Black had to take this knight. If you try like some king g8 or something, there's just going to be knight f4. And yeah, white would be up the rook. So they're going to go to Armageddon. Let's jump to the other game here. This match is still tied half-half. Fedoseev looking to maybe win this one. If either player wins, in fact, they are just going to qualify to the next stage outright. Oh boy, still catching my breath after that last one. Wow, what a game. What a game. Folks, I'm going to take a quick break. Wow, what a game. I got to stand up for a sec. Unbelievable. Alrighty. Okay, so game 2 in this match, Esipenko Yakubov. They're going to be submitting their bids for Armageddon. Their Armageddon game will be starting soon. In the meantime, thanks for following, folks. You're watching Chess Dojo Live, the official coverage of Division 2, Julius Baer Generation Cup Champions Chess Tour. And yeah, it looks like this game very, very equal. Neither player really going to be able to do a lot here. But hey, game is still going. No one offering a draw yet. The game is a draw. They will go to Armageddon. So either player here, I think, is going to be hoping to just win it outright. You know, if they can get a win in this bullet game. But right now, I feel like they're just kind of just maneuvering back and forth. Black has been shuffling King G7, King G8 for a little while. So yeah, we'll see. I know Fedoseev, he generally is a madman. He's gonna he tries to win these positions, but what can you do? At a certain point, you gotta push something. H5, G5. You gotta advance a pawn to break the 50 move rule to avoid any repetitions. But it's hard. If H5, then G5. Not sure you want to allow that as white. So he's gonna be mulling it over. Okay, F6, resetting the 50 move roll. I don't know if Alexeyev realizes what he just did. That's it. You guys got to play another 50 moves now before before you can make a draw. 1 minute on the clock. Can Fedoseev find anything? Oh, folks, I want to watch this game, but I'm dying. I gotta run to the bathroom here. All right, you guys watch. I'll be back. Alrighty, folks. Oh, what happened? Oh no! Alexeyev finds a mate. Oh man. Oh man, folks, I'm sorry I missed it. I'm sorry I missed it. But it looks like Fedoseev was pushing all out for the win. Pushing, pushing, pushing. Black gets some counterplay. Rook takes f4. Rook e8. And unfortunately for white, runs into rook h4 mate. It might have just been all over at this point. I guess there's rook h7, but rook e8, rook h4. Alexeyev wins the game and knocks Fedoseev out of the tournament. Honestly, pretty big upset. Alexeyev, of course, very, very strong grandmaster, but Fedoseev definitely a clear favorite, at least on paper in this match. But he's out, and Alexeyev will advance and face the winner of Esipenko Yakubov. They're setting up the Armageddon right now. That will be starting shortly. Looks like Esipenko will be getting black in the Armageddon game with 11 minutes against 15 minutes for Noterbeck, and draw odds for Esipenko. So basically, they're basically what just happened in their last game, except Esipenko has less time, but this time this is going to be the final game of the match. So draw odds for Esipenko. And yeah, he's going to be looking to hold back a very fired up Noterbeck. Let's see, that Armageddon should be starting shortly, folks. I'm going to take a quick break, and we will be coming back when that gets started. See you guys soon. Alrighty, folks, apologies. Catch me up. What is happening here? So, Armageddon game. Yakuboev needing to win this. They got another Rui. Okay, early bishop d2, a little bit cheeky, but it kind of stops black from pushing b4 and stuff like that. a5, a4, b4 like this. Bishop goes to e3. Yeah, some nuances here, huh? Takes, d5, bishop c5, takes, queen d6. Okay, so yeah, pretty solid position here for black, though the pawns are a little bit weak on the e-file. Knight b3. Yeah, Yakubov's going to be looking to put some gentle pressure here on the queen side in the center. Maybe one day look to break with d4. So we should be in for a big fight in this one. Okay, knight d7. Who are y'all rooting for? Should we put a poll in the chat? /poll. Or do you guys want to do a prediction? Let's do a prediction. We'll do a prediction. Last prediction we did was for Chump IM versus Boomer GM, huh? How about that? All right, let's see here. Yakuboev, Esipenko. Remember, Esipenko has draw odds. So if the game is drawn, that means Esipenko wins as black. I'm going to give you guys 2 minutes to get your bets in. 2 minutes. Start prediction. Prediction up, folks. I feel like we don't have a lot of risk takers in the dojo. People want to be cautious with their with their dojo gold. We still need a good system for what to do with the dojo gold exactly. But, we'll get there. Hey, Queen E2, Esipenko thinking about it. Rook F4 doubles on the F file. That's definitely one of the benefits for black here of having these doubled F pawns. It's okay. Number one, they control some nice squares in the center, but number two, it also gives black a semi-open F file to use for counterplay. Now Yakubov quickly goes G3 so that he has time to play King G2 as well, but black's second rook is coming to F8, and I'm not sure what he's going to do. I guess he wants to just... Okay, well, there we go. Asked and answered. Knight comes back to D2, rook goes to F1, so that's how he's going to be holding F2. White playing for like a... I wouldn't even say a small advantage. I would say like micro advantage. He's just like a shadow. He's just a little bit better. He's like... if Lacroix was like a evaluation, that's how much Yakubov would be better. A Lacroix's worth of flavor better. Just a nudge better, a smidgen. Just a tiny, tiny bit. He's got the C5 square. Black structure is a little bit weakened. So maybe he can do something here. But let's see. C3. F6, both players making many improvements here. C3, X takes. Bit tough for black because you can't. Okay, he's trying. There he goes. D4. I was gonna say it's like hard to do anything in the center, but D4. This is an attempt to kind of clarify things immediately. White has to take. All right, black takes with the pawn. Queen E2. Now still a bit better for white. You have this kind of nice C4 square. But yeah, also white has some pressure on the c file. So knight b6, kind of tying white's rook down to this a pawn and stopping knight c4. Nice kind of multi-purpose move. But f4, yeah, structurally it feels like white is certainly better here. Okay, right now obviously he's threatening e5, which is annoying. e5, queen d5 check, but still. This e5 is going to be a big advance. Of course, it also allows black's knight to come in, but Esipenko just went queen b4. I wonder if he wants to grab this pawn. Rook c1 and e5 played. Wow. Now f5 though. Yeah, and structurally white is doing fantastic. Now white's got like the c file. Lots of pressure here. Rook c5, rook c1 stuff. And white has this like easy kingside attack, like King's Indian style. G4, H4, G5. Just running. So yeah, Esipenko snags a pawn. But it's not just the pawn. He also wants knight c3 and a4 with counterplay. So rook c4, knight c3. Oh, wow. Tactics. Tactics, tactics. Okay. That could have been winning a piece, but these guys are so good. Esipenko already sees that he has knight c3. Counterattacking white's queen. Now if takes, this endgame is super unclear. Black has an extra pawn, but not a very healthy one. If white doesn't go for the endgame, then black gets to keep the extra pawn, keep his knight on c3, and queen will move and a pawn will start running. So, okay. Tough choice for Yakubov here. Decides to go for the endgame and rook b7. Okay. Well, yeah, it feels like white maybe still has a little bit of a nibble in this endgame, right? Knight comes to c4. This knight can jump into a5. Black's pawn's very, very weak. Knight b4. d3 pawn, though. Uh-oh. Huge find, actually, by Esipenko. If black can win this d3 pawn, that is a lot of counterplay in the position, thanks to the passed pawn on d4. Knight c5. Oh, Yakubov has knight c5. I didn't see this. Knight c5. Nicely covering the d pawn. Still feels like white is keeping some control here. This knight comes to c4. And black is up a pawn, but black has like three huge weaknesses in the position, right? a5, c7, e5. All these pawns are weak. They can't be defended by other pawns. And they're all very easy targets for white's pieces. So white has the potential here to be 2 pawns up. He's a pawn down right now, but in like 3 moves, he can be like 2 pawns up already. Like just game over. So this feels quite critical for Esipenko after knight c5. He needs something here. He needs another resource. Maybe some kind of g6 or something. But g6, of course, is very risky. You're hanging the pawn with a check. What to do? What to do? Okay, Rook A8? But wait, rook takes B4. Rook takes B4. Isn't that just a piece? Hello? Rook takes B4. Rook takes B4 and rook takes A8. Guys, what are we missing? What are we missing? He takes it. What does Esipenko have up his sleeve? He's not moving. He's not moving. Guys, why isn't he moving? Esipenko just hung the knight. He was winning the match, folks. It was 1-0. Just winning the match. Loses game 2, and just like that, he hangs the knight. And that's it. It's over. Just an extra piece. Unbelievable. That's it. That's it. There's no compensation. White's other knight is going to come to B3. Everything is extremely well defended. And that's it. White just has an extra piece. Yakubov there, he spent something like 20 seconds to make sure that there were no tricks, but that's it. Game over. And Yakubov will be advancing, knocking Esipenko out. Esipenko just completely collapsing here in the last move. Now spending a lot of time. I remind you guys, there's no increment in this game, so he's in danger of just straight up flagging soon. Not that you can really continue the game in any particularly serious fashion, but hey, he's gonna try rook c6. Now White just needs to move the rook somewhere and defend the knight. Rook b5, rook c4. Both moves are good. Yakubov can't believe his luck right now. He's like, wow, what a tough match. But just comes down to a simple tactic. Okay, he's spending time here. Rook c4. That looks like the more solid move. And then White wants to just pile up. Or go rook b1, knight b3 next. And just pick off these pawns one by one. Esipenko probably, yeah, super frustrated. And there it is. There's a resignation. Yakubov winning the Armageddon game. He'll advance to the next stage of the losers bracket. He'll face Yevgeny Alexeyev. Both matches actually here kind of small upsets, but it'll be Yakubov, Alexeyev in the next round. And then they'll also be facing well, actually, I don't know if they'll be playing, but Aronian and Basimamin are going to join the mix, and they'll probably be facing them in the next phase of the bracket. Meanwhile, in the winners bracket, we have Nepo against Artemiev, which will be coming up tomorrow. Whoops. There we go. Folks, that's going to do it for day 3. Thanks for watching. This has been Chess Dojo Live. We're going to raid. And hopefully I will catch you guys next time.